bitch. I'ma pull your bitch. Bitches follow me. What's good? And we're back with another movie review. It's raining outside. This is like my favorite weather. Today we're going to talk about Terrifier. Terrifier, to me, is probably the best example of like a modern classic. Art the Clown. Horror's been hella stale lately. Like Jason, Freddy, there was like a new Jason, there was a new Freddy. The new Halloween sucked ass. Halloween Kills was dope. Halloween Ends was trash. But thank God for Terrifier and All Hallows Eve, because Art the Clown is like a breath of fresh air in like the horror genre. And shout out to Damien Leone, the director, and everyone who was a part of the All Hallows Eve and Terrifier movies. Y'all really rejuvenated the series, and like I love this movie. This is a really good movie. The first time I seen it, I was blown away because I'm like, nah, they can't show that. Like they really like, oh, this is one of them type of movies, one of them low budget grindhouse type films, which I love. Those are my favorite. I'll take them shits over like a well produced, big box office horror film because I like the way old school shit looks and just the vibe of it and the feel. To me, this is like a perfect horror film, and I'm gonna do Terrifier 2, but we got to start at to start at the beginning, we'd have to start at All Hallows Eve. I'll get into that too, but I just watched Terrifier last night for like the 20th time, so it's still like fresh in my head. So we're gonna get into that, and like, favorite, do whatever you want to do, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the review. So the movie starts off with like an interviewer. She's interviewing this woman who's horribly disfigured. She looks like my balls. And she talks about she's the survivor of the Miles County massacre, who was attacked by Art the Clown, who killed a bunch of people. And this had happened like a year ago. So this was like on Halloween. So this happened like a Halloween ago. So she's basically asking her what happened. And she was like, they found Art the killer. He escaped from the coroner's office. And she's like, no, he's dead. I saw him. And we see somebody kick the TV. This is Art the Clown. And it shows like a LeBron James highlight reel of him like getting ready for the night. Like he's getting like a dig appointment, and he's like putting his makeup on, he's making some weapons, he's really getting into it. He's putting like a drill through something, he's getting a bunch of scalpels and scissors, he's getting ready, he's gonna do some killing. So then the movie opens up with that interviewer. If you've seen All Hallows Eve, you'll recognize the woman. She was in All Hallows Eve. This is like a nice little callback. And she's in her dressing room, she's on the phone saying like, I've never seen someone this disfigured. I thought she was gonna attack me. And then she hears a noise and she turns around, and then she gets off the phone, she puts the phone down, and she gets attacked by the disfigured woman, and she gouges her eyes out, and she kills her, and the disfigured woman smiles. What a opening, right? Like, it was like the perfect opening. So then in the next scene, we get introduced to Dawn and Tara, our two main characters. Dawn's a blonde, Tara has black hair, and they're both shit-faced. They're arguing over who's going to drive Dawn's car, and they both realize they're too drunk. And off in the distance, they see Art the Clown, and he's carrying a big black sack. They look at him, they look at each other, they look at him, and he's gone. So they end up at a pizzeria. If we eat, maybe we'll sober up. So PSA, everyone should know this already. Don't drink and drive. You're a fucking idiot if you do, and you're inconsiderate. So they're at the pizzeria, and Art the Clown walks in. And Art's sitting at a table right next to them, and he's staring at them. So then Tony Soprano comes up to the girls, asks them what you want to eat, gives them pizza, and then he asks Art the Clown, like, what you want to eat, and Art didn't say nothing. So then Tony Soprano walks away. So he gets like 25 cents. He puts it in a little, those little machines you put the coins in, you twist it, and you get like a little toy, little candy. He gets like a little silver ring, and he gives it to Tara. And Tara's not fucking with him at all. Dawn actually sat on his lap and took a selfie with him. So he gives Tara the ring, and then the pizza comes, and then Art the Clown goes to the bathroom. So the girls are eating their pizza, and then Art is getting kicked out. Tony Soprano's like, you motherfucker, get out of my pizzeria. Kicks him out, throws his big black sack at him, and Art is waving, and he has white gloves on with doo-doo skid marks on him. And he has like skid marks in his ass. So they leave the pizzeria to come to find that Dawn's tire is flat, and they suspect that Art did it. So Tara decides to call her sister Victoria, who's kind of hot, and she says that she'll pick them up. So they're just waiting in Dawn's car, and Tara's freaking out, like, who is that guy? Who is that man? He's different. He's not a normal person. And Dawn's getting fed up with her shit. Like, Tara, shut up. Like, that was just a harmless, like, there's nothing wrong with him. You're thinking too much into it. You're freaking me out. So we finally see the destruction that Art left at the pizzeria. We hear Tony Soprano too. He's like, you better pay me extra for this. Art took a shit and he spelled his name out in the shit. I guess that's why they call him Art, because he makes like scat art. So he's cleaning the shit. He's like, yeah, real smart having the person that makes the pizza clean up the shit. So he walks out and he sees his boss's head. Art cut his head off and made his head into a jack-o'-lantern. So there's like fire inside of his eyes and his mouth. This is what really turned me on into the movie. Like, oh shit, like, okay, this is one of them ones. So then he gets freaked out and he goes to call 911, and Art the Clown smashes his hand with a cleaver. It doesn't like cut his hand off, it like obliterates it and smashes it. So then he stabs him in the face, and then he falls to the floor, and he's stabbing him in the face like 20 times. So Tony Soprano 1, Tony Soprano 2 are both dead. And so then Tara's saying she has to pee really bad, and they see this guy that looks like Johnny Sins. He's wearing a coveralls. He looks like a janitor. She asks him if he can go into. She asks him if she can go into the building to take a piss, and he's like, "I can't. You can't." But eventually, she talks him into it. So she's gonna go take a piss, and Johnny Sins is just sitting there like, "Do you want me to stay and watch?" And like, I would have asked the same thing. So then she goes to do her business, and Dawn is in the car, and she's looking through her phone, and she's listening to the radio, and she hears that the two people that were working at the pizzeria got killed, over the radio. And she's like, "Oh my God, can you believe this?" And the car door opens up. She thinks it's Tara, but it's really Art. And the killings are brutal. Everything about the movie's brutal. The most brutal part is I'm coming back to it now, is he has gaga hands. He has gaga in his crack, and he's wearing a white jumpsuit. So you see like this white streak down his ass, and then like I said, his gloves are like covered in shit, caca, dookie. Like everything he touches, he's leaving fecal matter behind, which is awesome. So Tara runs into Cat Lady, and she's talking about, oh, you must be the new tenant, and she's holding like a baby doll. She calls it Emily. So this lady's nuts. She has like a baby doll. She calls her Emily. That's her daughter. And Tara gets freaked out and she runs out. So she tries to get out of the building, and we see Art. He's holding a scalpel with his shit hands, his gaga gloves. So Art's chasing her, stabs her in the leg. He gets on top of her, and this part almost made me throw up. He's like rubbing her face and like choking her with his shit hands, with his gaga fingers. And she ends up stabbing him in the armpit and gets away. So she ends up finding Johnny Sins, the janitor, and she's like calling for him, but he has his Beats by Dre on. Then Art drugs her, and she gets knocked out. And we get into the most brutal killing in the movie. This movie probably blew a lot of people away because I never seen nothing like this in a movie. And Art has like this big tarp, and he goes to like put a saw to Tara's throat. And he doesn't kill her. He puts the saw down, and he unveils the tarp, and it's Dawn. Dawn's hung upside down with her titties out. She's just in her drawers. Art takes the drawers off, and he grabs a saw, like an old saw, rusty ass saw. He cuts Dawn in half vertically from the pussy down into her head. It's all show. All the kills are on screen, which is amazing because a lot of these fucking movies they shy away from the kill. No, this whole killing is done on screen. He cuts her in half vertically, and Tara's able to get out. She smacks him with like the arm of the chair, and she runs out and she grabs this big wood, and she's smacking Art with it, and she's kicking his ass, and he's getting all fucked up, and he kneels down. He takes a knee like Kaepernick, and he's just all, and she's like, "Come on, motherfucker!" So before Tara gets to swing on him again, Art pulls out a fucking gun, and he shoots her. He shoots her like 16 times, like 50 Cent. So she's on the ground, and he goes to get another clip. He ran out of ammo. So while he's looking through his big black sack, Tara's phone rings, and it's her sister Victoria saying, "I'm here." So Art texts Victoria, "Dawn is sick, come through the back." So he loads the clip, and he shoots Tara in the head like 17 times. Like, the shit was overkill. But out of all the killings, bro, like, you just shoot her. Like, that's such an Art thing to do. So we see Johnny Sins. He's mopping up the stairs, and Art's like a mime. I think the guy that plays Art was a mime, but Art doesn't make any sound effects. Like, he doesn't scream. He doesn't talk. He like, when he walks, you could kind of hear his footsteps, but Art is silent for the most part. He hits Johnny Sins with Johnny Sins. He hits him with a hammer. And like going back to him not speaking, he emotes a lot. So like his facial expressions are hilarious. and you can tell when he's in pain. He laughs his ass off. So then we see Cat Lady. She's like in an underground tunnel, and she finds Art holding her baby doll Emily, and Art's like this, and then the Cat Lady's like, "You never felt a mother's love," and she like grabs Art, and he's sucking his thumb while he's holding the little baby doll. So Victoria ends up at the building, and she finds Dawn's body cut in half vertically, and she walks into like this little room, like a basement, and she finds like this naked woman on the ground, and she's like, "Oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay?" I think she thinks it's Tara, and she hears, "Help me," and she looks, and it's Cat Lady. So Art made it seem like he was Cat Lady on the ground. Art scalped her and cut her tits off. So Art looks up, and it's Art wearing her scalp. And Victoria runs off, and we see Art emerging from the darkness, and he's wearing Cat Lady's tits, wearing her scalp, and he's walking with his dick and balls tucked in between his legs. I'm not impressed because I could do that. That's how I normally walk around the house, with my dick and balls between my legs. I'm being dead ass. Like, I'm being so serious. So, enough about my dick and balls. So, Victoria goes and hides in a closet, like me, and the other janitor that was working with Johnny Sins, he shows up, and Art destroys this dude. Art comes up from behind him, pause, and he stabs him in the top of the head, lifts his head up, and he starts decapitating him. He turns him into a human Pez dispenser, and he doesn't cut his head off all the way with a knife. He rips his head off, and he kicks it like a soccer ball. And this is why I love this movie and these kind of low budget grindhouse type films, because I like prosthetics. To me, sometimes prosthetics look realer than like CGI or like really well built millions of dollars worth of special effects. Like, I really like prosthetics. So then after he kills Johnny Sins' partner, he comes up from behind Victoria. So Victoria had found her sister's body. He like decorated it in like Christmas lights, and he put like a circus sign, which if you've seen All Hallows Eve, you'll recognize the circus sign. So he comes up from behind Victoria, and he suffocates her with a bag. And I think this was the only movie I ever seen where the person being suffocated by a bag actually like rips the mouth open so she could breathe. So then she grabs a nail and she stabs Art in the foot. And like I said, he doesn't make any sound effects. He just emotes. Like, you could see like he's in hella pain. So blood is squirting out of his foot, and Art was whipping the shit out of Victoria with like a homemade like cat of nine tails, whatever the hell they're called back in the Roman times. In the beginning, when he was getting ready, he was making like a whip. He put scalpels on it, razor blades, scissors, syringes. He's whipping the shit out of her. And Johnny Sins comes up from behind him and knocks him out. He takes her to like some office, and he calls 911 saying like, "We need help. We need emergency." So they end up walking into like a hallway, and Art comes up from behind Johnny Sins, and he hits him over the head with some big thing, whatever it is, and he stomps on his head with his Ronald McDonald feet, and he obliterates his head. His head gets completely destroyed. So then he comes up from behind Victoria again, and she stabs him in the eye with a nail. She gets out, and she goes into like, it looks like a garage, and Art hits her with a truck. He like crashes through the garage door with a truck, and he knocks her out, and he's like in there like listening to music, emoting, and this shit is fucking hilarious. So the cops get there, and they see Art eating her face. So they're like, turn around. They have their guns out, and Art turns around, and he has his gun. He puts his gun in his mouth, and he blows his head off. So then we're at a coroner's office now, and the emergency services or whoever are bringing in bodies to the coroner, and they tell him like, okay, this is the man of the hour. This is the killer right here. So the doctor unzips Art's bag, and Art's smiling. And then like the lights start fluttering, the power goes out, right? Like shit starts happening, paranormal shit. And then Art chokes him, and then he presumably kills him. So then we get to the final scene of the movie, and we hear a doctor talking about Victoria being released, and her parents are there. She's in a wheelchair. So the woman with the disfigured face in the beginning was Victoria, because Art ate her fucking face, like the homeless dude on bath salts. And that's the end of the movie. Now, when I first seen the movie, like I said, it became one of my favorites. It's like the perfect slasher film. Like, they get everything right. The acting was okay. The acting was pretty good. But just the atmosphere, the kills, Art himself, everything was perfect. All Hallows Eve is really good. I'll cover that too. Terrifier 2 is even better, and I'll get into that one too. But this was like the perfect slasher film in an era where horror is really stale and stagnant because everything just fucking sucks. Like I said, Halloween Kills was hella good. It was dope. Halloween Ends was garbo. The last Nightmare on Elm Street was kind of trash. I think I seen it. I didn't really like it. And then the last Friday the 13th was kind of boo boo. It wasn't as good as the originals, but this was such a breath of fresh air for horror because the genre is getting really stale. Terrifier 3 comes out this year, I believe. I'm going to watch that shit for sure. But, man, Terrifier is a really good movie. It pays homage to the old school classic. Like I said, this is a modern day classic. Arthur Clown is like a household name now. The first one was good. The second one was even better. I hope the third one is even better because then this will solidify his spot in like the slasher genre and like amongst the killers and all that. But I highly recommend this movie. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. I've seen it on Netflix. It's on Tubi. It's also on Amazon Prime for the free, or if you have a subscription to one of their shits. But anyway, man, go watch Terrifier, bro. Like, that shit was amazing. But other than that, that's the movie. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I hope you guys check out the movie. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that good shit. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace out.